Happy Thursday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. My name's Caroline, and it is Thursday, April 23rd. And as Nicholas likes to keep reminding me, it is almost his birthday. He will be 12 in just a few days, so that's kind of exciting. I have a lot of crafty stuff to share with you today. I had a really productive evening last night. Let me tell you, I don't know what it was, but I just seemed to be, I just seemed to want to do all the things, and I really had a great time. First of all, the shawl that I'm wearing today, this, believe it or not, kind of went missing for a little bit, and then I was doing a bit of organizing in my closet, and guess what I found? This was a shawl that I knit like 3 or 4 years ago now, and this was yarn that was gifted to me by my friend Adrian, who is another member of the Fiber Friends podcast, and it has remained one of the most favorite things I have ever knit. Simple, asymmetrical, 2-skein wrap, and it was just like my European road trip shawl, just basic knitting, super fun. And so it's called the Less is More shawl, and I believe the designer is Manel. Less is More, so that's the name of the shawl. And at the time it was a free pattern. I'm going to assume it's still a free pattern. You can probably find it on Ravelry. And it just is this really super simple, it's mostly stockinette, but then at every 5 or 6 rows it has a 3-row little ridge, and it was just super fun to knit, and it's just one of those cozy things to put on when the weather is really kind of nasty outside. So we had some freezing rain in the forecast this morning. I'm in London, Ontario, Canada, and it's right on the edge. It's almost freezing rain, but not like a true freezing rain. I mean, I still feel pretty confident taking the dog out, just wearing, you know, regular boots without needing serious traction. It's not that bad, but it is quite gray and a bit miserable outside. So no long walk in our future today, but it is the perfect day to stay inside and stitch or knit or sew or craft, all of those good things. So I'm gonna hurry up and get my work finished this afternoon so that I can get back to my crafting pursuits. Okay, so first of all, let me show you some stitching, and then I'll show you some knitting, and then I'll show you some stitching again. I'm gonna mix it all up today just to keep you guessing. I started with my Brenda Gervais Autumn's Fruitful Labor pattern last night. That's this one with the giant carrot and the birds, of course, the birds. And isn't the I haven't checked this, but the color of her dress, I love that color blue. I should actually look, because I'm not, at this point in time, I'm not sure which blue that is, but that's a really nice blue. And I finished the diamond border. So I finished filling in the diamonds at the bottom. So those are all complete now. I had a little bit of a repair job to do at the end here, because I had stitched the centers of those diamonds, which matches the border, and 2 of them were off by half a thread, and so I had to repair them before I could do the blue fill-in. So that fill-in is now done. I finished the acorns, those are done, and clearly I did a few letters for fun. So tonight I'm hoping to do, you know, maybe another sunflower or 2. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. This is a 40 count R&R Reproductions linen. I think the colorway is Patriots Brew. I think it's just a neutral R&R Reproductions. It's a lovely linen. Really enjoy R&R Reproductions fabrics. Really nice to stitch on. And it's called for threads, 1 thread over 2. 1 thread over 2. Next up, I had a question, sort of a little nudge yesterday on yesterday's video from Karen, who wanted to know about the second big gray sock for my father-in-law. And Karen, thanks to you, because I literally had not put a single stitch in this since the last time I shared it. So thank you for asking, because you galvanized me to get on with it and pick up those stitches so that I could start the gusset decreases. So thanks to you, instead of being on the circular needle, I'm on all 4. I have my 3D shape ready to go, and those stitches along here are now picked up. It will focus eventually. There we go. So you can see, I always do a really nice long gusset, heel flap. And so I usually have in between 21 to 23 stitches that I pick up, and then have to decrease back down until I get to the regular circumference size of my sock. So thank you, Karen. Now that I've done the part that usually holds me up, my next step is to do a few decrease and regular rounds and then get it back onto the circular needle, because once I'm back on the circular needle, I tend to move a little bit faster, and I should see some better progress. Now, the yarn that I'm using, this is a Knit Picks Hawthorne fingering, and I don't even know that I don't think there was a color name. This is what I have left. Now I have another skein, so I'm not worried about that. I would like to not have to open up that other skein, but if I have to, at least I know it's there. But it is satisfying to see that yarn get smaller. So there we go. Maybe we'll see the gusset decreases done by, I don't know, Monday? No promises, but at least I'm on my way. Okay, so when I was looking yesterday for the Papillon Creations piece to share with you, the how does your garden grow, that now I know where my threads are, I know where the pattern is, and I've put them together with the whip, and they're in another project bag together, and they're queued up, but I'm just not in the mood for specialty stitches yet. I'll get there, don't worry. I think it's beautiful too, and I really want to finish it. However, at the moment, I'm really in the mood for things that are simple and not a ton of thought required. Like picking up the stitches on the heel, that's not hard for me to do. I mean, that's not something that requires a lot of thought. I just have to do it. So, and I'm finding that I'm drawn to working on projects that are in my queue that are simple and comforting. And so I thought, okay, it also was very satisfying to have that mini finish with Frosty Forest when I finished the small design that's part of the bigger one. Very satisfying. And I thought, okay, so when I pulled out the Papillon Creations, I have a number of whips that are not on frames or stretcher rods or whatever. They're just the fabric, and I keep them flat. I layer them like a cake, and then I roll them up and I keep them in a pillowcase to keep them clean. And when I took out the Papillon, when I took out the How Does Your Garden Grow, I found another whip that I've shown before. I showed this in my very first Flosstube ever. So you'd have to go all the way back to number 1 to get the whole embarrassing story, and I'm not going to repeat it today. Well, it is what it is. So anyways, you probably know by now, if you've been watching for a while, which one I'm talking about. I am talking about the Ink Circles Thread and Eye Mandala. This piece here. And this piece is this was designed as a chart to be exclusively through my old local needle workshop, which was Thread and I. And they had exclusive rights to this pattern, I think for 6 months, a year, I don't remember. But we started it as a stitch along, and we all got to choose our own. You have the choice of 4 colorways that Tracy recommends on the chart, or you could choose your own colorway. Basically, you take color families. So you need 4 colors, and then 3 shades of each color. And I made a bad choice at the very beginning of my color families, and it didn't work. Let's just put it like that. It didn't work. So I had to rip out the color that didn't work, but it's taken me a long time to not be really mad at this project. Because once you see it, it's really hard to not see it. And I was so mad because I had put so much work into it, and I felt like it was kind of ruined for me. However, enough time has passed. I'm not mad at it anymore. I have taken out the offending thread. I now know what color I want to replace it with, and I think I'm ready to go, and I would love to finish this. I don't know when. I'd like to finish, let's just say I'd like to finish it this year. There, that's open-ended enough. It's going to be done in 2020, because really, all I have to do is fill in. The hard part is already done, which was all the outlining. So here's what I have. So I've got all the outlining is done, and I just have to do the fill in for most of it. Isn't it beautiful? I mean, now that I've taken out that one color and I hold it like at this distance, looking at it in the camera, I don't see it, and I love it. I love it. So I think I have officially waited long enough. I'm back in love with this piece now, and I'm ready to finish it. So today, instead of Thursday toss the stash pile, we are tossing the whip pile, and this is what I came up with. And this is now what I'm super excited to work on. Now, 24 hours of cross stitches this weekend. So what I'm gonna do is I have an empty 8x11 Q-snap. I'm gonna load it up, and I'm going to put some stitches into it tonight so that I can share tomorrow. And then since it'll be, you know, already loaded up, then I can spend a few hours on it maybe this weekend. But one more peek. Isn't it beautiful? I never know which side to go to when I show these. There, maybe like that, so I can see it too. It looks like stained glass. I love it. Okay, so that's the plan. Then, because I was talking about Papillon Creations yesterday with How Does Your Garden Grow, it reminded me of a pattern that I have had. It's not, I wouldn't call it a unicorn chart because I own it, but it's one of those charts that has been on my mind for, well, it came out in 2006. And every time I would go into Thread and I would see this chart on the rack of charts, and I would think, oh, I think it's one of the most beautiful charts I've ever seen. And this is probably one of the charts that started my love affair with geometric designs. So this is Papillon Creations, and it's called Saint Sophia. So I just thought I would share this with you because it's completely different than How Does Your Garden Grow, which I love. So if you've never heard of this designer, I think it's really quite cool. It's really quite neat how different the styles can be, but then similarities too, right? I mean, this sort of ornate design work. So this is the same pattern. All 4 of these stitches here, that's all the same pattern. They're just different colorways and different fabric selections. So look at how different it becomes when you put it on this beautiful blue fabric with this colorway. So then I started thinking, I got that beautiful green fabric from Erin in that swap that I did. I know, right? Could you imagine in that green fabric with, I would just have to swap out a few of these colors. I mean, I think that would be absolutely stunning. It's just, it's fun to dream, isn't it? A bit fun to dream. Okay, so that's it for stitching. I have some work to do on a few other things, but I'll share those with you tomorrow. One last thing, and I'm going to end with some knitting today, because Sarah's afghan, remember what I said? Guess what? I finished the third skein. So there's where where's my progress keeper? Other side. Other side. There it is. I knit 4 rows and I finished up that skein. So I'm ready to add in number 4. And Carolyn Zook asked me, how many skeins do I have? How many skeins will this be? And the answer is 15. I have 15 total, which, if my math is worked out correctly, the length of it will be 75 inches. It's a lap. It's a lapgan. So it's one that you would keep on a couch. It's not meant for a bed. So I think, what is it? It's wider than 46 inches. It's just over, I think it's maybe almost 50 inches. So it'll be about 50 inches by 75 inches when it's done. So this is the Talon Throw by Brooklyn Tweed, and I'm knitting it for my daughter. Why does that look funny? I better not look too closely. I don't want to find any mistakes. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's all good. Oh, isn't it so beautiful? I just love it. This is, so here's number 4, ready to go. It is a Barocco vintage. There's the tag. I know, there we go. And the colorway is, it's color number 5106. It's gray. It's a light gray. So I am going to cake that up tonight. That is also on my to-do list. I'm going to cake it up, and I'm going to add it to the blanket so that I have that 4th skein started. So there we go. See, wasn't I productive last night? I impressed even myself. Shocking. I watched a little bit of Gilmore Girls last night. That was fun. I haven't watched that in a while. It was nice to, when I finished the series, I started over again back at the beginning, and just like Savon is my comfort stitching, Gilmore Girls is just comfort TV. It is the perfect TV to watch when I'm stitching and I don't want to watch the screen and I don't feel like an audiobook. So Flosstube, I want to watch and stitch, or watch and knit. Gilmore Girls, I just listen because I've watched it so many times that I can see it in my head while the dialogue is going on. So I watched that while I knit, and I listened to a bit of my book, but the audiobook that I'm listening to right now is nothing to write home about, so I'm not gonna recommend it because But I have this thing where once I start it, I have to finish it. A book. Now, crafting projects, those I can have a million underway at the same time. But books, if I start it, I have to finish it. I just can't not finish it. It's a bit of a tick. My mother has a different tick with books. She's so funny because she has to read the end first. She has to read the last page first. Mom, do you still do that? Do you still read the last page of a book first and then go back to the beginning and read the whole book? I never, I mean, that used to shock me that my mother did that. Isn't that funny? We all have these things, right? I can be so mad at a book because it's so terrible, but I have to read it. I still have to read it. There was one book that was somebody left it at the cottage. It was, I think it was, oh, it was years and years and years old. It was this terrible, you know, I wouldn't even classify it as a romance. It was just a silly story, and it was so bad, that we put it in the fire pit for, you know, kindling, because that's how angry I was at how much time I had wasted on that book. Instead of just stopping reading the book, which would have made more sense, no, I had to read it, even though it was terrible. We are funny, funny creatures. Funny, funny creatures. Okay, now I'm super excited about this. I'm so excited about, I'm so glad, because this has kind of been a thorn in my side for the last 3 years. I'm gonna say 3 years. But now I'm excited about it again. You see what happens when you wait long enough? It's like magic all over again. Okay, that's it for me today. Tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow we will be doing, I will be doing, you can join me if you wish, little focus on a designer. So I have a designer chosen. This designer, it's a small designer on Etsy, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow. Until then, take care, enjoy your evening, happy stitching, and I'll see you then.